Can I make my phone call? Do I have rights? Can I make my phone call?
Who you gonna call?
Huh?
Who you gonna call?
Your mama.
All right, get your ass in the car, man.
Okay, well, that was.
A young 21-year-old man recently went completely viral on social media for saying the most blatantly true, obvious statement that only Gen Z would have the balls to say. He did not consent to being born, and therefore he shouldn't have to work, and his parents should just support him for life.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
As far as I can tell, yes, 100%, 1000%, absolutely, it's true. I don't remember being a spirit, a wisp, a strand of consciousness, whatever we were before we entered this godforsaken earth, and being first asked for my permission as to whether or not I even agreed to being born and eventually being forced to work in the first place. If someone can prove me wrong factually, not emotionally, but factually prove this statement wrong, I'm more than happy to listen. But you can't prove it wrong because it is the objective truth, and older generations just don't like how it sounds because they're too cucked to accept the truth.
Okay, let's get serious. I used to unironically support Philosophical Gamer. For over a year, his channel gave me a sense of consolidation, like someone finally acknowledged the struggle of people like me, a sense of unity. But such absurd takes like this one made me skeptical. And trust me, this isn't even the wildest thing he's said. Check source links in the description. So, PG argues, since you never asked to be born, you have a moral right to live off your parents indefinitely, as if you're just the embodiment of their ambitions. If birth is a one-way ticket to lifetime parental servitude, then what about orphans? Who are they supposed to blame? Whose neck do they sit on? Look, there's a grain of truth here. You didn't choose to be born, and you don't owe anyone your existence, not even your parents. But that doesn't give you a lifelong lease on their couch. Otherwise, it's not justice, it's entitlement. Here's the real problem. PG confuses, or deliberately replaces, freedom from obligation with freedom from responsibility. The first is a philosophical position. The second is just a toxic opt-out of adulthood, and that mistake is dangerous, because it justifies being passive. It says, you don't have to grow up. The world owes you because you were born. Sorry, PG. Not choosing to be born doesn't give you free rent forever. It just makes you an adult with a very creative excuse. Also, the quick side note, check the comments under this video, the one about, I didn't choose to be born, so I won't choose to work. Look at the top. Same slogans, same rage, same UBI boomer capitalism book copy-paste. I'm not jumping to conclusions, but either this is bot farming for engagement, or it's a textbook echo chamber where any hint of nuance gets downvoted into oblivion. Go check it for yourself. It's like this on almost every PG video. Anything even slightly constructive? Buried at the bottom. Just saying.
Any rebuttal to this true statement is just an emotional reaction and not an actual logical argument. You can react negatively to it all you want, but you can't prove it's factually incorrect. So, with that being said, let's move on to the second half of the blatantly obvious true statement. If he did not ask to be born, which we've already established, then why should he be forced to work? Shouldn't the people who forced him to be born without his consent, aka his parents, then be expected to support him? I literally don't see any logical reason why not. Again, all we're doing here is telling the truth. And a longtime subscriber of mine, Cyclops, once posted a brilliant comment where he articulated this absolutely perfectly.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Look at this tweet from a typical Zoomer fan. Parents chose to have you. You owe them nothing. No consent to birth, no obligations. Calling you a burden. That's gaslighting. Sounds like a dream for any 25-plus dependent. First, legal nonsense in ethics. You didn't sign a contract? Fine. But you ate their food, used their roof, took their money for 18-plus years. If a friend invites you over without a written note, you don't raid their fridge. Second, double standards. Parents must plan their lives perfectly. You get to freeload forever. Social collapse. If everyone follows this logic, parents stop investing in kids, kids become selfish, uncooperative, civilization collapses. Fourth, evolutionary fail. Humans survived on intergenerational support. Deny that, you're back in a cave, no Netflix, no UBI. One more thing. Conductive acts.
In law, if you enjoy the benefits, you silently agree. The paradox of free lunch. If a child owes nothing, why should parents feed an able adult? They can say, I never signed up for a lazy parasite. PG's logic leads to everyone owing nothing, only power and cunning remain. But he won't say that, because his audience doesn't want to face a world where parents kick them out. And about gaslighting. Calling a 25-year-old healthy freeloader a burden isn't gaslighting. It's a fact. PG's ethics confuse facts with abuse. Any criticism becomes psychological violence. Convenient, isn't it? And here's the final blow. Look at this screenshot. PG posted a community update. I overworked myself on this channel and needed a break. Then he announced a video. The Gen Z job market is worse than actual Islamic slavery. Bold claim. So bold that the video is gone. Probably after someone pointed out that Islamic slavery had no worker protection laws for 99% of its victims. The Mamluk exception, former slaves becoming rulers, applied to less than 0.1%. Almost all military, not dishwashers. And cherry-picking that exception is like saying feudalism was great because one peasant became a knight. But here's the real irony. PG preaches against burnout culture, then admits he burned out. He sells rage against overwork, then overworks himself chasing YouTube's algorithm. He calls the system broken, but his solution is more content, more controversy, more comparisons to slavery. The channel isn't a revolution. It's a content farm feeding on your frustration. So, here's my final verdict on PG. He's good at naming the pain, but his cure is absurd or pure copium. Rage or revolt is not a plan. Nostalgia is not a strategy, and freeloading is not an ethic. If you're tired of coping and ready for actual alternatives, stick around and contact me. We'll talk about assets, semi-autonomy, and building escape hatches that don't require a time machine, crime, or a parental couch.